talking about the path of awakening. Which is kind of a continuation of what we talked about yesterday. People that I have been following, new people that pop in. We are expanding a little bit at a time, not too fast, a little Norwegian. Like the Norwegian World Cup. They kind of they were on the ball to go big, but then they decided to go home instead. It's kind of the awakening process to shine, to have purpose, to like go big. You actually do sometimes get pulled into drama, which they did, which the team did. It's not necessarily the team, but the coach, the management, the people, the leaders of the association, the journalists. They can all get pulled into justice. We are like obsessed with justice in Norway. It's kind of where Norway is stuck. So every country is stuck in different ways, and that ties beautifully into the awakening process, because there's literally like different dimensions within your body that you will have to see, that all these dimensions are kind of, they have energy, and you will have to kind of become aware of them. And that's what we do when people come. I can lead you to the dimension of awakening, but freedom, but the freedom has to be centered and be understood. And because it's easy to have freedom, but freedom can be taken away. It's kind of what we are dealing with the West, that freedom can be taken away. So you have to understand these dimensions and become aware of how to hold your freedom, how to hold your power within these dimensions. And that's what we see when people really kind of go for stuff. They can really enjoy stuff, and they can, it's like beginners, like suddenly you're just like going for something and everything is working, and you didn't really deserve it. You just kind of tapped into something. But then you still can get dragged into complications and drama of spiritual communities, of all kinds of communities and associations and identities. Everybody's got these beautiful drama, the energies, that you have to kind of go through to awaken to yourself and to be sovereign in your being. So that's kind of what we're talking about on the path. It's so interesting to see, just like in the World Cup, how different countries suddenly, you could feel like they had this wanting to win, and suddenly it's gone, and people don't really see that. It's hard to see that in yourself. So when I have clients, people talking to me, and how I talk here, I kind of want to make people aware of the connection of how you are, if you are still kind of opening up, standing in your freedom, or if you are kind of getting pulled into drama, which is part of the journey. Got some people coming in. Beautiful to say hi. Hello. So if you're new here, like hit that like button or subscribe or whatnot. It's always lovely to hear people saying hi. So the awakening, freedom is so easy. That's why it's so hard, because it kind of requires the understanding too, and to walk the path. And you kind of need like a teacher to kind of actually help you to see these dimensions, because there are dimensions of awakening. We can go through, and you see people talking in the spiritual society and community, and different cultures, they talk about, nothingness. They can talk about, I feel like nothing, I can feel like God, I can feel just all abundantly love, I can feel like Christ, I can feel peace. But there's also kind of a fifth level of awakening, which is a spiritual, you have to kind of discover that spiritual being within, that higher being, so to speak, or that ascended or descended being of yourself. All these dimensions of you can seem kind of like, people can talk about these things, but to actually kind of connect with it, that is what the teacher will do. If they've walked that path, they can actually bring you into that, to that connection. That's why a lot of people just lose kind of hope, or just like get stuck in different techniques, because they don't necessarily, they have teachers that are just more in the philosophy awakening. They've read some books and they have an understanding of it. I've read some channelings, and this is what it is, and this what it's like. I've met so many people that are in an understanding of it, and you can talk the greatest words, and yet you see that within themselves they haven't really found it. The words and your being is not aligned, and that is the purpose of a true teacher, is to help you align, and we still have to go through these different dimensions, so to see that, like, are you getting pulled down underwater again, or are you allowing yourself to keep being uplifted? It is challenging sometimes to kind of actually allow yourself to be uplifted, when we so naturally sometimes just want to drown, be sorry, be a victim, all these different words that people throw around, and that people don't totally understand until you actually have the conversation. So that's why I say, reach out, have the conversation. And beautiful to see you here. And if you're new, hit that like or subscribe button, and I will post more talks eventually. Well, I do it all the time, but depends. We're heading to Norway now, so it's going to be a little bit of a different time zone than being in America. So it's always relative, and we're going to have some good times, and have some retreats, and have some good talks. And yeah, so I'm kind of tapping in here for the old and the new, so that they can just, as reminders, to stay connected and reach out and communicate. That's important. And if you're new, good to see you here, and say hi, and I will talk to you next time.